After the release of Metal Gear Solid 2, the franchise would experiment with alternate continuities. Some of these made for fascinating case studies, others were skateboarding. 2 of these even got their own independent sequel. I'm not talking about Ghost Babel. Evolution's Snowboarding is the spiritual Metal Gear Solid 3, evolving the torch that was passed down. If you'd like to know more about this game's narrative, here's my character beating up a turret. 20XX. Earth is plagued by an inexplicable and lethal change in climate. Evil forces have inhabited the land, taking advantage of the desperate situation. Something must be done before it is too late, like the resurrection of dinosaurs. As you can see from the footage, this isn't your usual video game. I mean, sure, it's got snowboarding and stuff. When I made my 1080 Avalanche video, truthfully I was lamenting the lack of combat snowboarding games, but thankfully, there is at least one game I can look forward to. Finally, my wish was granted. A game where I can choose not to race, but slay my opponent with my bare knuckles. I've seen people compare it to Road Rash, but they're wrong because this has music by Slipknot. Konami took a look at Devil May Cry and made it snowboarding. You know, you can grab weapons and kill people as you skate. You've got all these different moves and gear to customize. In a game all about combat, you may expect a variety of weapons. And there are. There are a grand total of 4. At least they spent more time modelling this moo jacket. This game is so advanced that you don't pick the gender, you pick the body type. Very progressive. Although progressing the main story is relatively easy. Like with any true action game, getting the gold ranks is where the true test of skill applies. And this game demands perfection, otherwise you'll get shot to death. Each of the stages reward you with exciting set pieces. Every time you start a mission, the player character is revved up and ready to go, causing a jet stream of excitement. When you're thrown off a ledge, you don't take damage, like any normal video game. Instead, you are mystically teleported back on the track, encouraged to cause more carnage. To any indie developers watching this, I insist, why have you not made this game yet? You may be wondering, how do you attack things while boarding at light speed? You have to perfectly modulate your speed so that you can fist the enemy, and when you do manage to land your grubby hands on these Kingdom Hearts enemies, you are rewarded with explosion particle effects, combustion on par with the N64. You may think the PS2 can do a lot more than this, but you're wrong, because this game has contextual graphics for the items. Collect the keys. The game is generous with its bosses too. You have Battyman and Boomer. Boomer is the leader of Boomtown. Legacy of King? Dethroned. The bosses also act as a thematic through line for the game's topics. Each level in the game is the corresponding territory for each leader, and when they are defeated, they not only lose themselves, but the environment they've developed. The beliefs that they stand for are shattered into pieces, and are ironically turned against them. This army officer gets destroyed by its own military. This vampire's castle tumbles right beneath him. These cave bisexuals say they're gonna revive the dinosaurs, but they get eaten by dinosaurs. The boomer dies of old age because he has an electric chainsaw. There's usually no explanation as to why there are infinite enemies that can respawn and fight against you. I mean, seems a bit strange, right? Evolution Snowboarding rectifies this by including a cloning machine in the narrative, and metaphysically allowing the developers to copy and paste the same missions. Look at this guy's face! But thankfully, this game isn't real, because upon unlocking Danny Cass, he states to have acquired a grenade. Where is it? That's the genius of this game. The true key, it isn't real. It's a metaphysical explosion that's constantly going off in your brain because you're trying to process. Enemies give way to supernovas, only to spontaneously reappear. It's this nightmare world of flashing lights and ecstasy. Yasuo, are you proud of yourself? Yes. I should also mention that there is an air of mysteriousness to this game. Evolution Skateboarding had Metal Gear characters as unlockable cameos, but this game doesn't have anything like that. But who's to say there isn't a secret code that allows you to unlock more of the game's potential? After all, Konami wouldn't pass up the chance to include cameos in their hottest, coolest snowboard game. By the time you reach the final level, you're being confronted with laser beams, explosions that emerge before you. This final level is based on the opening act, hence an appropriate cycle rounding off the events of the game. What's your reward for putting up with this nonsense and maxing out all the beef? Nothing except your own glory. Goodbye.